Hello everybody, I'm here with Cassandra Bodzak.
Hey guys!
And we are going to make some blueberry scones today. So these are very simple. You don't have to have a food processor. You could totally do this by hand, but this makes it a lot quicker. So we're going to start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We have it's 1/3 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt. There's a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger and cinnamon, 1 stick of butter cut into pieces. This is a cup of ricotta cheese, that's what makes it fluffy, and 1 egg, and then a whole pint of blueberries.
Ooh, yummy!
Very, very easy. So everything is going to go in the food processor, and it's going to chill in the freezer, bake, and it'll be done in 18 minutes.
We can do some substitutes. For instance, with the butter, you can find a butter substitute. They have lots of great soy-free ones right now. And then with the egg, you can substitute 1 regular egg for a flax egg,
Absolutely.
which is just 1 teaspoon of flax meal and 3 teaspoons of water just mixed up together. And with the ricotta, you can either substitute it for a creamy coconut yogurt or even applesauce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were talking about this before. I'd say maybe half a cup of applesauce.
Because you don't want that much liquid, but the applesauce will keep it moist. And that's the most important part, is you want a nice moist scone. So I just dumped all of the dry ingredients in. So that was the flour, the sugar, your baking powder, your spices, and the salt, all in the food processor. You get everything in here, and if you have the lid on correctly, you pulse it. Because all I'm doing is I'm just mixing the ingredients, I'm aerating them so that you don't have little pockets of salt or baking powder.
And again, you can do this with a stand mixer too if you don't have a food processor.
Yeah, and you could just do it with a fork and a bowl, and you just blend in the butter. It just takes a little time.
Good old-fashioned elbow grease.
Yeah. So I have a whole stick here of cold butter that I've just cut into little pieces.
And now, do we mix the ricotta and the egg together?
Yeah, do you want to mix that together for me? I find it's just easier to do that in the bowl. And so now I'm just going to pulse this. You're just breaking down the little clumps of butter so they're small. Not too broken down. Alright, may I?
Good enough.
Yeah, it's good
You
enough.
may.
This recipe, it's really, really very, very simple.
So simple, and I can just, I mean, these are going to be so decadent.
Yeah, and because the ricotta cheese is in there, some people don't like scones because they think they're too heavy or too dense, and a lot of scones they're very dry because it's basically a sweet biscuit.
Yeah.
But with the addition of the ricotta cheese, it makes it light and fluffy, and it just makes it so much better. People are going to be like, these are amazing. I made these.
I never thought I liked scones before.
I get that all the time. People say that to me all the time. They're like, oh no, I never liked scones, but these are so good. And I got my hair cut this morning, and I took them to the salon.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I bribe people.
And we're going to use blueberries today, but again, if you have a preference of fruit, you can also get funky with it.
You can use anything. Very classic would be cranberries and orange.
Yeah.
That's like a classic scone. I've done it with strawberries, even like lemon zest and raspberries.
Ooh,
Because
yes.
lemon raspberry, very popular. So this is a trick that I learned just by trial and error. It makes it so much easier because this is kind of a sticky dough, and it's crumbly. You see it's crumbly right now, but it's a sticky dough, and it kind of gets everywhere. And I like to put this in the freezer to solidify that butter, because the butter is actually going to help it rise and give you little pockets of air to make it fluffy. And this way, everything is in a nice little neat package. And who doesn't like a nice little package? So here is a trick too, by the way. Be careful when you're taking stuff out of here. This blade is extremely sharp. It's extremely sharp.
Yes, I've cut every finger on it.
Yes, I know.
Every single finger. I'm like, oh, how did I still do that?
I've cut my finger really badly just washing the blade. Like when you're not paying attention and it just like pops up and cuts you.
There we go. Ah, this looks so decadent.
I love these things. So, get it all in there.
Yeah.
See? Sticky dough.
Yummy.
Alright. So, bring it in like this. Pat it down. And bring this end up. So I'm basically making a giant rectangle because I like to cut them up into little bars, or sometimes I cut them into little squares. I've noticed that people are intimidated sometimes by large, pieces of pastry. And so if you make things like little bite size, then everyone's like,
oh, they love it.
Yeah, this is so little, it's great. And then they have like 5.
So we put this in the fridge for how long, Jeff?
We're going to pop this in the freezer for 20 minutes. Yeah, because you just want everything to firm back up. You want the butter to be solid because we're gonna pop this into a 425 degrees oven, which is a very hot oven. But if the oven's not hot enough, it's just gonna melt and be sad. And so this way,
you don't want sad scones.
You don't want sad scones. No one's gonna eat your sad scones. So this way, it's gonna be a nice firm. They're gonna be big and fluffy.
Yummy.
In 20 minutes, and then you can bake them in 18 minutes. Boom, fresh scones. Try this recipe. It's super simple. Make it for a party. Freeze them the night before and then bake them in the morning. People are gonna think you're a genius.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
They're so fluffy.